Third base feels like a pretty solid position. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Thursday, February 6th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers, and let's take a look at the third base position, some sleepers, breakouts, and busts. Chris, over to you for a sleeper at third base.
Yeah, Isaac Paredes, who I'm struggling with whenever we talk about the third base position, just because by ADP, he's very clearly a sleeper in that he's just being slept on. I think he's arguably a top 150 player for the upcoming season. And part of it is just, we have seen this before from Isaac Paredes. In 2023, he was like a top 70 player. He hit 31 home runs. He had great plate discipline, and there was some skepticism around it because he didn't hit the ball hard. But then he goes out 2024, mostly does the same thing until he gets traded to Chicago. And here's the number that it comes down to. Are you ready?
Ready.
It's 315. That's how many feet it is down the left field line in Houston. When he got traded to Chicago, it's 355 down the left field line. That is the worst possible place Isaac Paredes' skill set could have played, because all he's looking to do at the plate is hit 365-foot home runs or 340-foot home runs, whatever it is. I don't know. 365 would have been a home run in Chicago, I guess. So we'll lower it to 340. The point is, Isaac Paredes does not hit the ball hard. He's like 5th percentile in average exit velocity. Even when he hits the ball in the air, it's a little better, but it's like 20th percentile rather than 5th percentile. But what he does is he hits the ball in the air to the pull side super consistently. And now he's going from Chicago, where I think he was not even fantasy relevant, to Houston, where he might hit 30 homers again. And he's going to hit near the top of a very good lineup. And here's another reason to be optimistic about Isaac Paredes. If the Astros re-sign Alex Bregman, Isaac Paredes might gain second base eligibility. And that could be huge for his value. I know this is the third base sleepers, breakouts, and busts, but having a little extra ability never hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are in complete agreement on Isaac Paredes. And even since the trade happened, the ADP hasn't moved up that much. NFBC ADP since January 1st, right around 190. So Paredes, perfect fallback option at third base if you miss out on everybody else. For me, I'm going to go with Matt Shaw, who has an ADP of around 210 since January 1st. And he is the top prospect for the Chicago Cubs. He's 23 years old, first round pick. Back in 2023, he's flashed power and speed in the minors. He got better as he moved up the ladder. Last season, 284, 21 homers, 31 steals, 867 OPS for Matt Shaw. Does a really good job making contact as well. Just an 18% strikeout rate in all of the levels last season. Has never posted a strikeout rate above 19.7% at any level. The one thing we need to watch here is Alex Bregman, because there are rumors that he could go to the Chicago Cubs. If he does, he is starting at third base, and Matt Shaw might not have that opportunity. The way things look right now, he looks like he's going to be the starting third baseman. His job to lose during spring training. But if Alex Bregman signs there, obviously things change. For now, I do think Matt Shaw has quite a bit of upside. Speaking of upside, Chris, who is your breakout at third base?
To quote our friend Scott White, Caminero. There you go. Junior Caminero, Tampa Bay Rays third baseman, one of the best prospects in baseball over the past couple of seasons. He's no longer prospect eligible, but he won't turn 22 until just before this all-star break. He's been very good throughout his minor league career. Makes a lot of contact, especially for how hard he hits the ball. He wasn't a superstar right away at the major league level, but everybody, almost everybody, needs some adjustment period when they get called up, and he got his out of the way. So there's a chance Junior Caminero hits the ground running in 2025 and is a super impact bat. I think there's a little bit of like Vladimir Guerrero here, where he might not set the world on fire because he hits a few too many ground balls, a few too many infield fly balls. He kind of pulls off his swing a little bit too often, but when he hits the ball, he's going to hit the ball really hard. And I think even the lower end outcomes should be very productive.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we return, I will give you my breakout pick at third base right after this.
One of golf's elite courses, Quail Hollow, hosts the game's top players at the PGA Championship this May on CBS.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball Today Express. We are breaking down the third base position. Breakout for me is
Caminero. Ha ha! Ha Caminero.
Yeah, we have the same breakout. I mean, this is clearly the best breakout option at third base. There are a few other ones, but Caminero is someone that I just have a lot of confidence in for the same reasons that you mentioned there, Chris. And the fact that they're going to be playing in George Steinbrenner Field should be a better hitting environment this upcoming season. Yes, he hit too many ground balls last year, but when he hit the ball in the air, an 11.8% barrel rate. So still found a way to do some damage. I think he can hit 270 plus 25 home runs as soon as this upcoming season. What about a bust, Chris? Someone that you are fading at third base?
Well, I do want to mention one name before I get to my actual pick, and that's Alex Bregman, because if he does sign with the Cubs, Alex Bregman's going to be the bust pick because he has a very similar swing to Isaac Paredes, and that would be kind of a worst case scenario because we might lose two starting caliber third basemen if Alex Bregman signs with the Cubs. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But my actual bust pick, and this was a clean sweep on the full episode of the podcast, Mark Vientos. We just all share the same concerns about him. I know he hits the ball really hard and he was very productive last season, but he had a 33% strikeout rate from July 1st on. He still managed to be pretty productive, but the production did waver as the season went on. And that's the concern for me. It's not he's going to strike out too much. There's no way he can be a good player because I think he has the raw power to be a productive hitter, even if he strikes out 28 to 30% of the time. The problem is if he's striking out 32, 33% of the time, that's where I think there's real playing time risk. I think there's real risk that Mark Vientos ends up getting sent back to AAA at some point if he really struggles, because this is a Mets team that is going to be spending a lot of money, has really high expectations, doesn't have a huge margin for error. Not like they can go out and run a third baseman with a 650 OPS for 4 months, if that's what it looks like with Mark Vientos. So it's just, I think there are some Austin Riley-esque outcomes on the high end, but his floor is incredibly low because of how bad the plate discipline is. 75% in-zone contact rate last year. That was an improvement from where he had been in his previous tries in the major league level. Still one of the 20 worst marks in baseball. So there's just a really low floor here for Mark Vientos, unfortunately.
And the ADP for Mark Vientos is 81.2. Yeah. We are looking to fade him at that cost. And my bust at third base is someone that's actually going to play second base this season, but he has third base eligibility. Jazz Chisholm. And this one pains me to say I am wearing the man's jersey. I am a Yankees fan, and I understand what the upside is. Once he went to the Yankees last season, he was awesome. His 150-game pace, 35 home runs, 58 steals. I think there's first round upside for a Jazz Chisholm. I also think there's a lot of injury risk here. This is someone who has had a stress fracture in his back. He had surgery to relieve turf toe. He also had a sprained UCL just last season in his elbow. So these are all serious, things that have happened, extensive injury history. He's only played more than 125 games just once in his career. So it's a boomer bust pick. I don't mind making those picks more so in the middle to later rounds of drafts. I don't want to do that in the first 3 rounds. And right now, Jazz Chisholm will cost you a 3rd round pick in fantasy baseball drafts.
I'll take him 25th overall.
Look, I totally get it, man. You want to swing for the fences? There is massive upside here with Jazz.
And that's all Jazz is trying to do when he's at the plate. I love watching him too.
I love watching him too, but yeah, that one pains me to say. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.